I don't know what removing the cameras really provides other than, again, and we've had a gag order in this case, and that didn't work out well. You hear about other people who've been placed under a gag order. It doesn't seem that the Constitution works well with this constitutional kind of when it's okay to speak about and let the audience decide what the truth is.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
I don't know. The more I dig into this whole Bryan Kohberger case, the more stuff I find. I'm going back over information that came out earlier and then comparing it and juxtaposing that with information that's been gathered up over the last few months. We're going to be talking about the order of how the victims were done away with, the bombshell interview that the Gonzalez's gave to 48 hours. Did what Jeffrey Dahmer do to his victims play any type of role in the Bryan Kohberger case? And erotomania. You may have seen the Netflix series You, and stalking and how it relates to motive in this case. And I'm going to be talking about this case in terms of Bryan Kohberger because he is the only one who has been charged, arrested, and in prison for these crimes. He is innocent until proven guilty. Let's start with the order. Steve and Christy spoke out. This is Steve and Christy Gonzalez spoke out to 48 Hours this week and shared that once the perpetrator made it to the third floor, Maddie was likely his first victim. The perpetrator then did away with Kaylee, who was trapped between Maddie and the wall. So Christy shared the quote, "The bed was up against the wall, the headboard was touching the wall, and the left side of the bed was touching the wall. And we believe that Maddie was on the outside and Kaylee was on the inside. The way the bed was set up, she's talking about Kaylee here, was trapped, and that whoever did this, I'm watching my words, may be surprised to have found the two friends in the same bed." Now, Christy shared that she believes that the plan went wrong. She stated that, quote, "I do think that his plan went awry. I do think, he intended to," and I'm watching my words, "do away with one and ended up doing away with four." So in the 48 Hours interview, both Christy and Steve agree that with the prosecution theory that BK did stalk the 1122 King Road house prior to November 13th, the night these precious four young people, Ethan, Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana, were all done away with. Steve stated, quote, he had to know when people were coming, people going, and Christy added, quote, "I think he at least opened the door." And now she's talking about the 1122 King Road house and at this point, and he went in, tested the waters, and looked around. Now, we did an informal poll here on Reporter Room, and you guys overwhelmingly believed that he had been in the house prior to this taking place. So as I shared with you months ago, BK did have connections to the victims, and what the defense team was claiming about BK not having any connections is misleading at best, and at worst, it's not true. I've seen a lot of people in the comment section saying BK couldn't have done this. He doesn't have a history of doing anything like this. Well, he does have a little bit of a history because his father, Michael Kohberger, had to have him arrested when he was an adult. He was 19 years old. So he was around the same age as Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana. So I want to talk about these connections, and we're going to talk about the Netflix series You and Jeffrey Dahmer and stalking. So let's look at how all of these things relate. So Steve and Christy have confirmed that BK's Instagram account showed that he followed both Maddie and Kaylee. Christy stated, quote, "From our investigation of the account, it appears to be the real Bryan Kohberger account." Now remember, the Gonzalez's hired their own private investigator. So why is Ann Taylor and her defense team denying that there's a connection? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Everything I'm sharing with you is my opinion. Opinions are not facts, so please don't send any negativity to anyone. Let's be kind to each other. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, so please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please give this video a thumbs up so I know you were here. Only 30% of you guys that watch my videos are subscribed. It's free. Please subscribe. It helps me so much. We're going to discuss Jeffrey Dahmer's behavior in just a second. So if you've seen the Netflix show then you've seen how the main character Joe stalks his victims and justifies his behavior. To this type of stalker, they believe they love you and they believe that you care about them back, even if you don't even know this person exists. This type of personality disorder will continue to contact you, even if you're asking them to stop or completely ignoring them. This type of personality will violate your privacy, cross your boundaries, and does not respect your personal space or privacy. So I'm going to discuss Jeffrey Dahmer and BK's diet in just a moment, so please stay with me. So this stalker type is utterly convinced that you are in love with them, and they will interpret what you do as, quote, coded messages, and they believe that you're in a relationship together with them. So this type of personality disorder is socially awkward and may have some other coexisting anxiety disorders. They will react negatively to any perceived rejection. And again, it doesn't have to be real. It just has to be perceived. Then they flip from love to hate. The obsession just continues. So let's talk about BK, his diet, and Jeffrey Dahmer. From November 6th, 2009 and February 20th, 2012, BK allegedly made around 118 posts on the forum under the username XR. Now, BK wrote in May of 2011 that he has, quote, depression, no interest in activity, constant thoughts of unaliving himself, crazy thoughts, delusions of grandeur, anxiety, poor self-image, poor social skills, and no emotion. Put a pin in that. So BK also posted, quote, when I get home, I'm mean to my family. So this started when Visual Snow did. I felt no emotion along with the depersonalization. I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse. So in my opinion, this is not related to his Visual Snow. It sounds more like a budding psychopath, in my opinion. What do you think? Now let's go to Dr. Carol Lieberman. She talked to Newsweek and she believes that BK's reported obsessive compulsive eating habits indicated that he was afraid he would become addicted to meat if he ate it. He was not only vegan, he refused to eat off pots or plates that had had meat on them from prior food preparations or even from prior meals. And she said that she believes that, quote, psychologically, this represents his struggle against his, I'm just going to substitute Jeffrey Dahmer urges to keep this, family friendly. So BK, and she continues on, she said, quote, he was afraid that if he let himself go to taste the meat once, he would become addicted to it like he had become addicted to medication, I'm watching my words, and started S-Kane and Jeffrey Dahmering people. Do you agree with Dr. Lieberman's assessment, or is she off base here? Subscribe.